the Discord this week, Jules has raised the question about striking the third and the fourth strings, which are notoriously difficult to do. The reason for that is when we first practice the basic freehand strum, we work on that first string, that. Now it is quite common to assume that the first string is the easiest, and then the second string is slightly more difficult, third and fourth, the fourth being the most difficult. And you could say that. I would just say that all strings require time and effort. There are a few things that we can do to help us with that accuracy on the third and the fourth strings. So how can we improve our third and fourth string striking accuracy? Let me show you. So as you can see, we've got obviously the banjo here, and we've created that claw shape that we're so used to. And when we put our thumb on the fifth string here, and then we strum down, then our middle finger lands on that first string there. We create this gap. You can see in my claw shape there, that gap. And if I lift my hand up, you'll notice that the gap now between my thumb and my middle finger is that wide. Now that width there is the exact same width between my fifth and my first strings, which is why I can strike that first string cleanly. Now when I strike the first string, my hand just doesn't stop at the string. I'm really driving down. You see how my forearm is pivoting on that armrest there? That allows me to hammer down. That's why it's called claw hammer, because we're creating our claw and we're hammering down on the strings. Okay, and then when we want to strike the inner strings, we close that crab claw. So we're closing our hand at this joint here, this bit of meat on our thumb. So we do that. So as we start off on this position here on our first string, when we want to strike the second string, we close that slightly. Now, when we put our thumb back there, it allows us to strike that second string. Again, even though that first string is in the way, it doesn't stop us, and it might mean that our finger then contacts the first string. The back of our finger here might, as we strike the second string, it might contact the first, but it doesn't really make a noise, and if it did, it wouldn't be a problem. But you can see how I'm driving into the strings with that hammering motion, and I'm not being shy about it either. I'm really giving it some welly. Now if I want to strike the third string, same again, we close it a bit more. Now by doing that, we should be able to strike our third string. And then finally, close it even more, reducing that gap. Now you'll notice, look where my thumb is and where my middle finger are, they're not like that. I'm not trying to like pinch them together. Even though my thumb and my middle finger are like that far apart, it's the gap between there, and if I was to draw like a line from my thumb tip, it's kind of like that gap there, and that is the width of my fifth and fourth string. Now you listen how I can create the same amount of clarity and volume on my fourth string as I can with my first string. What you need to remember is your banjo is made out of wood, hardwood. It's made out of maple and rosewood and all these other solid materials. So you can whack down on it with some welly, give it, be aggressive with it. You're not going to damage your banjo. These strings are steel, you're not going to break them. So give it some welly. Now it does come with time and repetition and practice, obviously, but remember, we're just going to close that gap, reduce that distance between our thumb and the middle finger, and then to alternate between the third and fourth strings, you're just going to ever so slightly, as rigid and as fixed as our hand is between that fifth and fourth string, we just want to ever so slightly widen the gap and then close the gap, and then widen it and close it. Fourth string. Sorry, one sec. Just had a ladybird fall down the back of my neck. So we'll work on the fourth string now, and we're just going to keep that rigid claw shape. I'm going to strike down fourth string. Bring your hand back up, strum, thumb. So we're just going to strike down on the 4th string, hand back up, strum, thumb. If you strike multiple strings, don't worry about it, just keep going. You notice when I strike that 4th string with the back of my fingernail, I'm not just doing that, I'm not flicking it and then bringing my hand back up, I'm driving into it, I'm really... And if my finger hits the 4th string and then catches that 3rd, I'm not bothered. As long as I get a nice loud hammer on that 4th string, that's what I want. Same for the 3rd string, again, just open that gap ever so slightly. Look how my forearm is pivoting on that armrest there. That's what I'm doing, I'm pivoting and then striking down. Driving through the string into the banjo head. And if your thumb slams onto your banjo head, that's fine as well. That's the 3rd string, close the gap, close that gap. Remember, we're not pinching our fingers together, we're just reducing that gap. So your thumb and your middle finger are miles apart, really. If you look, there's my thumb, there's my middle finger, but it's the parallel gap between the two. You can see it just there. So between the tip of my thumb there and the top of my middle finger, there's a bit of a gap there, and that's what allows me to strike the 5th and the 4th string. Drive into your banjo, be confident, be aggressive. 3rd string, open the gap up slightly, 3rd string. Close the gap, 4th string. Do that a few times between the 3rd and 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't be gentle with it, give it some welly, whack it, and be a little bit aggressive with your banjo. You're not going to break it, don't worry about that. Then what we're going to do, we're going to incorporate that into the basic frailing strum. What we'll do is start on strings 1, close the gap, string 2, close the gap some more, string 3, and 4. And then when you get to string 4, you're just going to alternate between 3 and 4 a couple of times. So it'll sound something like this. 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Practice that over and over again. Do that 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 3, 4. It's just going to get you into the habit of obviously understanding what the widest gap is that we've got, that 1 and 5, and the smallest gap, which is your 4 and 5th string. And don't forget to really drive your nail into that 4th string. And if you catch the 3rd string on the follow through, don't worry about that. Be aggressive with it, hammer into your banjo.